Hello, my magical monetizers. I am, excuse me, I'm on here a couple of minutes early because, well, Merc is in retrograde and I only have 20 minutes to do this live today because I got a last minute call to go to LA. I'm working on some branding and website stuff for an AI company in the entertainment industry. It just came out of the blue. So I want to talk about that. And then tomorrow I'm doing a coaching session for my amazing one of my amazing clients, and then I'm doing a cacao ceremony at one of my clients' homes in Ojai, and then we're going to work on our website. And then on Friday, I'm getting a Reiki attunement and training with Tracy Blackman of Starborn Wellness, and Tracy's here in the group. So shout out to Tracy. She does amazing work, and you can do her Reiki school from anywhere, really. I think so. I think she can do attunements distance, but maybe not. She'll have to answer that question. So if you're here, just let's do a quick check-in, see how everybody's doing. The energy is really crazy, and we'll go into that in a minute. So for this particular planning session, I'm only going to go through most of the major stuff that's happening in May. And then I'm going to do part two of this next week, and we'll cover June and anything that might, any questions that might have come up. So leave questions here, like what are you guys planning to launch? What are you guys working on? All of that good stuff. Because yes, we can launch during Mercury retrogrades and in these weird kind of eclipse times. Hi, Christine. Nice to see you. Good morning. So, yeah, so I'm probably going to go pretty quickly because, like I said, I have 20 minutes this morning and then I have to get on the road and get moving. I just finished like packing up stuff. So, um, first of all, tonight, and tomorrow, depending on where you live in the world, we have a new moon solar eclipse in Aries. And this is all about rewriting your brand story, rewriting your like looking at your business through a mythic lens, looking at your personal brand through this mythic lens, because we are in a very big realm shift over the next 48 hours. And I know, like, all of a sudden, I've got all of these interesting things that I used to work on like 30 years ago. I mean, that was like my beginning in marketing, and doing this work was doing websites for people and like really the hands-on copywriting and branding work, which I don't do very much of these days. But all of a sudden, all of this stuff that I did 30 years ago was like kind of coming back. Um, and it felt really good for me to say yes to do it. So I said yes. But also with the light and the positive, there's also the shadow that comes through. And one of the shadows of this moment, this cosmic moment, is old patterns really coming to consciousness. So for me, a big pattern is to totally overwork myself, to be a people pleaser, to overcompensate for feelings of unworthiness, being sure that I'm so needed that nobody can reject me, a very dysfunctional pattern and behavior. So, yeah, I'm being really transparent with you. That's something that I've struggled with. That's part of my life lesson. It's part of my, whatever core wound from childhood. And we all have them. Nobody does not have this, right? There is a place somewhere in your life where this eclipse point is going to stir up stuff for you. So I would say go to astro.com if you don't know your rising and run your chart. Really find out what your rising is, because that's going to really determine in what house of your zodiac that this eclipse is going to, like, bam, hit you, okay? So that being said, I can do all of these beautiful things and all the things that are on my plan and do the work differently, do the work from a new mythic perspective. That's what myths help us do. They help us find meaning, they help us change our perspective. And archetypes, right? Myths, archetypes, all of that is very deep, right? So I can do this amazing work and show up here live and have all these things, and I don't have to overcompensate. I can just be very gentle with myself right now and go, okay, yeah, I have, you know, a lot on my plate. And it also feels really good. So let me know in the comments how you're feeling today. What's coming up for you? Are you being triggered? There's all kinds of energy. Like it's definitely a wave kind of energy, or maybe a spiral. I feel like a lot of ups and downs. Like I feel like really up and excited, and then like, oh my God, really depressed and down like 2 minutes later. So if you want to put in the comments how you're feeling and experiencing this, that would be great. Okay. Moving forward. So one other thing about this new moon solar eclipse, it's in Aries, which is a cardinal sign. So if you are a cardinal sign, you're definitely, what I'm saying is a cardinal sign in your sun, you're definitely going to feel this. So that would be Libra, Cancer, Capricorn. And of course, Aries people are going to feel it the most because this is their eclipse. This has been a big Aries moment since, feels like March, February, March. We've definitely been having a lot of fast forward movement. Like this month has gone so fast. March went by really fast. It felt like January lasted forever, and then all of a sudden February, and then it just was like we got kind of slingshotted forward, right? So yeah, if you're a cardinal sign, you're definitely going to be extra affected. Okay, so beginning April 21st, Friday, Mercury goes retrograde in Taurus. And this goes through May 14th. But, there's always the shadow in front of and behind the Mercury retrograde of like a 2-week period that things might still be a little bit slushy and weird. But just know that during this time, well, interesting, we're getting all of these triggers from the solar eclipse on a point that will bring up the past, that will bring up, ways that we need to break out of old patterns and rewrite that myth. And then we have the Mercury retrograde, which, so most people, this is very common knowledge. Most people already know what a Mercury retrograde does in their life, right? A lot of people have that consciousness. So in Taurus, this is all about getting really grounded. This is about the body. This is about beauty, your inner poet, your inner artist. And with retrograde, yes, you can, launch things, but maybe launch something you've launched in the past. So for me, I'm really kind of looking at like right now what my funnel is, and what my funnel is like in particular for my monetizing magic, for my mermaid and myth business stuff, right? Because that's been in my field for many years, right? At least 11 years now. So I'm going to be like almost like relaunching my funnel. I'm doing a Sirenalia and a live version of my pleasure flow class, which is all about bringing the power of your magic and flow into your business. So I'm going to do that for 2 weeks, and that's going to be a really beautiful activation. And a lot of that material is all stuff I wrote between like 2014 and now. So it's all past material that I'm looking at going, this is great material. And there's some of you who've been in my world since then, so it might be like maybe a little bit of a reminder or a little bit of a return to knowledge and wisdom that maybe you need to sink into, right? So where is that for you in your business? So that's kind of what I'm going to be focusing on for the next month through probably from now until like the beginning of June, maybe the end of the shadow of retrograde, which is around June. And I'm feeling like June 11th, June 15th. So Christine, you're definitely feeling the wave. Yeah. I'm curious how that's, moving through you in your business. And hi, Terrence. Nice to see you here. Today is all kinds of interesting. The universe is testing me at work and personally, but I'm going with the flow and feel good regardless. Crazy energies this day and month. Yeah. Wonderful. So let's go into, we went through Mercury retrograde in Taurus. So Taurus also rules the throat chakra. A great time to go back and unlock your throat chakra. What are the blocks to you speaking your truth? What are the blocks to you singing your song? And that could be literally or metaphorically, right? What is your siren song? What is it that you need to say to the world? Because that authenticity, that energetic vibration that your voice carries is going to help people. It's going to heal them. And so think of it as like your siren song. You're putting that out in the world to attract back the clients you desire, the opportunities, the projects, the fun, So having really strong intentions and doing everything intentionally would be a great thing to look at today. Hi, Miranda. You needed to hear the revisiting aspect of business energies. We've got too much undervalued material not adequately shared. So well said. Amen, sister. That's the truth. Okay, I've got 10 minutes left, so we'll see how far I get. But I'm going to do a part 2 next week so we can get through all of this quarter, the second quarter, so that way you have, we'll go through the end of June, right? Because July 1st starts Q3, right? How does all this happen? It's all happening fast. So again, staying super intentional and grounded is really what's key. And then when we have any sort of retrograde, especially in a earth element planet, earth element sign, that is really about slowing down, like slowing down to speed up, right? And, re-beautifying, right? And, Taurus, anything having to do with Venus and the second house, which Taurus rules, is all about how we value ourselves, right? So are you valuing what you've already created in your business? Are you valuing that all of the experience that has brought you to this place and really ground in that, okay? So, okay. May 1st, Pluto begins its retrograde in Aquarius, and it's going to re-enter Capricorn on June 11th. So this Pluto energy in Aquarius was a pretty big switch, and that happened, I believe, this month. It happened in April. So we're going to get a replay of that Pluto and Capricorn energy. So it's going to move from this place of, Pluto in Aquarius was all about like letting our freak flag fly and really dissolving those, I feel like more intellectual and logical boundaries, right? And going into how can we break out of the box with what we're creating? How can we break out of the box with our marketing? How can we break out of the box doing us and showing up for the masses, right? That's very Aquarian energy. And then we're going to go back into Capricorn energy, which is about structure, right? Capricorn's about structure. Good morning, Tracy. So lovely to see you. I mentioned you earlier. I don't know if you heard, but you could, I guess, see it back in the replay if you watched the beginning. Structure. So when we get to June, we're going to be looking at the structures in our business and the structures in our marketing and our automation. Like I barely have any automations in my funnel, and it's silly. It's silly. I know how to do all this stuff. I do this for people all the time. So it's time to like step back, maybe take things slower, take less work, and really like restructure my funnel, restructure how I am automating things and making my life easier and making the client experience better, right? Capricorn is very, it's a traditional kind of a sign. So, and I feel like it's very committed and disciplined. So any place where you need more commitment and discipline in your business in June, that's the time to really get into that. So right now we're still in Aquarius, but again, Pluto retrograde means, again, any planet retrograde, reviewing something. How am I allowing my unique, innovative thoughts and touch and perspective and approach in business? How am I allowing that to be articulated? How am I allowing that to be visible to the masses? David and I are valuing ourselves by finally taking 2 days off a week after 3 years of constant work. Yes, I love that. That's beautiful. Okay, I have 5 more minutes before I have to run. Okay, so May 5th, a full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio. So that is a big culmination. Scorpio is the opposite sign of Taurus, right? So Scorpio is, really death and rebirth, sexuality, taxes, all the inevitable things in life, the things that just we're not going to escape, where nobody's going to leave here without going through the portal of death, right? You can evade taxes, but that's probably not such a good idea. I've done that before and gotten away with it, and I don't know how. So, with a full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio, it definitely would not be a good time to evade taxes, evade any sort of inevitable things, right? You need to like take care of shit, because when that eclipse hits, it's illumination, right? Full moon is illumination. It's like, it could be also that, something that you've been stuffing down, something that you've been denying yourself, right? Might come to light, because Scorpio is like a detective, right? It's like the sign of finding all those little dark nook and crannies and going, I'm going to call you out. I mean, Scorpio's not, in certain respects, I'm not going to say not, it's not always soft. It's very emotional. It's very flowing. It's a beautiful, powerful energy, but when it calls out, it really calls out. So that's May 5th. May 7th, Venus enters Cancer. So just 2 days later, again, Venus is moving into this area that is very sensitive, right? And maybe makes us want to, stay home. Cancer is very, and maybe cook a beautiful meal. It's very nurturing. So part of our loving and part of our businesses could be about how do we nurture our clients? How do we nourish them and ourselves? Cancer is more about saving money than spending money. So, I feel like if you're selling things that have to do with nurturing, people self-nurturing themselves, that's going to be really good things to sell. Because in those Venus and Cancer vibes, people may not be really willing to part with their money for like self-help things or for serious business stuff, right? It's like, okay, I need gentleness. I don't want to be just throwing money out there at people to improve my life. I just want to be nestled and snuggled. So what is it about your business that would snuggle somebody and love them up, or have to do with home? cooking, self-nurturing, self-care, all of those things are the perfect things to sell around this time, especially, beginning, I feel like in beginning of May 1st, all the way through that first week of May. May 14th, Mercury goes direct, although he is still in shadow. So, but that would be a good time if you want to start, teasing out a launch, like doing a launch sequence. I have a whole class on launching called Launch Magic in the Mythic Underground. So I've been working on that and going, okay, I'm ready. I'm getting ready to do this. Okay, May 16th, Jupiter enters Taurus. Jupiter has been in Aries for over a year. It is entering Taurus, and that's Jupiter is big MF energy, right? It is the benefic, the guru, luck, expansion. Going into Taurus, after has come, after Mercury has stopped its retrograde in Taurus, we have Jupiter and, all right, there goes my alarm. It's time for me to go. So I'm going to just finish this thought. So May 16th, that's going to be a go time. That's going to be the time if you really want to launch something that's brand new, that feels really grounded for you, that you're ready to begin. You could begin a launch sequence, like I said, May 14th. May 16th would be a better date to do that launch sequence to start. Okay, Tracy, there's an automatic extension in California. We don't have to file until October. Yes, evade taxes. Yeah, I mean, we're not evading it. We're just pushing it. Yeah, I'm supposed to have a colonoscopy next week. So here's a final thing. And I was like, I don't know. I'm getting a feeling that I might need to move that till May as well. Or I have people going up my butthole. I just love to end these lives on such a happy note. Hi, Colleen. So I'm ending, I had to end early today. I will do readings next time. I will pull cards next week. I'm going to do part 2 of this, and we'll get through the rest of Q2 for our astro planning. And I hope this was really fun for you, and that it's helpful and practical, right? I like to give you practical, tangible stuff. Okay, bye everyone.